Hashtag we tried to tell ya. Y'all have seen the shirts that we've been selling. Pull the graphic up. Hashtag we tried to tell ya. FAFO 2025. You know, you got Project 2025, but with Donald Trump sitting in the Oval Office, it's FAFO 2025. Well, what did Vice President Kamala Harris tell you? The man was going to screw up the United States economy with his tariffs. That's exactly what he has done. He announced the other day, which he called Liberation Day, massive tariffs against a number of different countries, including many United States allies. He has been constantly attacking Canada, calling them the 51st state, dismissing them, treating them like a stepchild. And Canada said, enough is enough. Well, guess what? The U.S. Senate passed a bill to undo Donald Trump's tariffs on Canadian goods. And of course, they make it clear that that's not how you treat a partner. But when you have the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief, who's also a con man, leading the charge, well, this is what happens. Joining us right now is the senator from Virginia who sponsored that bill, Tim Kaine. Glad to have you back on the show.
Great to be with you, Roland. Thanks.
All of these people, and it pains me as well, all of these people, oh, we need a businessman back in the office. Oh, we need a businessman. Sure, it'd be great to have a businessman back in office. But I remember when we also had the first elected president to hold the MBA, George W. Bush. What do those two have in common? They both tanked the economy. And what he is doing here, stock market, CEOs are saying, what the hell are you doing? Ford announced laying off 900 workers. These tariffs are wrecking the economy, an economy that Biden-Harris handed him that was in good shape, rebounding from COVID.
Roland, President Trump inherited the strongest economy in the world when he was inaugurated in January. We were beating every other nation, not perfect, but manufacturing up, unemployment down, more people with health insurance than ever before, infrastructure being built. Donald Trump, in 2 months with his chainsaw, has left rubble, and it's getting worse. Consumer confidence down, stock market volatile, inflation up. Some Fed regions predicting not just a slower growth rate, but even a negative growth rate and recession. And he's doing it by indiscriminate and mass firings of people that hurt the economy, and this ridiculous focus on imposing the largest tax in the history of the peacetime United States, this national sales taxes, which is what tariffs do, for the most idiotic reasons and with no real economic justification other than I'm going to take the tariff revenue I collect and use it to fund a tax break for the wealthiest.
I really do think the people who work for him are absolutely in a cult. And the reason I have to say that, and I say that because I'm going to play the video in a second. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins was on Fox Business touting the amazing leadership of Donald Trump while they are showing the stock market down 1,400 points. What world are these people in?
Well, Roland, you've asked it, and I don't have a good answer for you. They are cultists. You know, Donald Trump talks about the golden age. I think it's like almost the golden years. This guy, especially on the economy, this quote businessman is wrecking the economy, and he's doing it for, you know, using discredited theories. You know, when the Republicans did tariffs under the Hoover administration, it just prolonged the Great Depression. They never work when they're done like this. There is a place for tariffs strategically applied against a nation that has put up artificial barriers against your own products. In that circumstance, tariffs can work maybe ultimately to lower tariffs everywhere. But using this bizarre mathematical formula they came up with and saying that they're imposing reciprocal tariffs against uninhabited islands and places around the world that hardly have people, much less products that are exported. I mean, I expect to see Legoland and Bikini Bottom on the next list of places that tariffs are going to be imposed. But you're right. Many of my colleagues, we had this vote last night, and we did get 4 Republican votes to overturn President Trump's Canadian tariffs. We still have to get this through the House. But I had many more Republicans tell me, you're right, we should be voting with you. We want to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's still early in his term. But last night was the first time any Republicans would stand up and cast a vote against Donald Trump in this term. And we just have to keep forcing them over and over again to cast votes of this kind. Do you accept these policies or do you disown them? It was good to see some of that muscle start to be exercised last night.
Senator, I don't understand your Republican colleagues. Oh, you're right. Well, we'll see. I mean, when are they going to get a backbone? They have constituents who are getting screwed. And it's like, oh, well, whatever the emperor wants, we're going to go ahead and do. They have no courage. They have no conviction. These folks are always talking about being tough. How about to start with the idiot at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue?
Well, Roland, you asked a good question. When are they going to have a backbone? I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. We have a 2-week Senate recess that comes up around Easter, the week before and the week after Easter. And everybody's going to be back home hearing a whole lot. Just like I traveled around Virginia, I guess 2 weeks back. My small businesses, my farms, my universities, my health clinics, my food banks. I'm hearing from everybody. And I have a feeling this maximum strength tariff regime that he announced yesterday, people are going to hear about it very, very loudly when they're home. And then you may see more because, look, we're going to challenge the tariffs he announced yesterday. We're moving ahead on the Canadian challenge, but the tariffs he announced yesterday, we're going to challenge them too. And we'll likely have a vote on that. We'll be guaranteed a vote on it. It will likely happen shortly after we get back from this recess. And by then, the effects will be felt and my colleagues will have heard from their constituents. And then we'll see, are they willing to show backbone or not?
Explain to people who don't quite understand how it works, how Congress is trying to take this back, because Congress gave a president, and just understand, I don't call him, I don't use the word president related to him because he has no respect for the office. So I'm speaking in general. Congress gave the office of the president the power, but Congress also has the power to say, nope, disagree. We can pass a bill and stop you from doing that.
Yes, Roland, I'm glad to. And you're right. There's sort of 2 ways to look at this. The Constitution clearly gives Congress the power to deal with trade, not the president. But Congresses of both parties, and this now goes back to right after World War II, started to delegate some powers to the president on trade issues, that the president can do X or Y. The tariffs that the president have imposed against Canada and now yesterday against the world are under a statute that has nothing to do with tariffs. It just says under dire national emergencies, a president can declare an emergency and take certain actions, but those actions can be challenged even by one member standing up and saying, wait a minute, I challenge your emergency. This is a law called IEPA. It's like the International Economic Emergency Act. It doesn't say anything about tariffs, but it just allows presidents to act in the instance of national emergencies. Roland, this act has only been used against enemies. It's been used against North Korea. It's been used against Russia. It's been used against Iran. It's never been used against friends. So President Trump used it against Canada, Mexico, and China. And I was aware of this quirky little procedure. And so I filed a challenge to President Trump's Canadian tariffs saying, we don't have an emergency with Canada. They're an ally, not an adversary. They're our biggest trading partner. These tariffs are a tax on American consumers. And when the senator files it, it becomes the pending business of the Senate 15 days later. No committee can shut me down, even though I'm in minority. Nobody can kick me to the curb. I get a vote when I challenge a presidential declared emergency. And that's what I got last night. And we held all 47 Democrats. We got 4 Republicans to vote with us. So the Senate has acted to turn off Trump's Canada tariffs. Now, we still have to get it through the House. But you point out a bigger point. Any tariff or any action that the president takes pursuant to this IEPA statute, we can challenge it, tariff or otherwise. But you raised the bigger point. Why did Congress give this power away to the president? Shouldn't we haul it back? And the answer is, of course we should. And so there's a bill that's introduced today. Senator Grassley of Iowa, Republican, and Maria Cantwell, Democrat of Washington State, to begin to pull these powers back. Rand Paul has a similar bill. And the general format of these bills would be that a president could declare an emergency and take action, but it would be limited to 30 days. And beyond that, it would have to be authorized by Congress. Sometimes there are emergencies under which a president must act promptly, and Congress can be slow to get their act together. But we were not designed to be run by a monarch. We didn't want to have a king that could impose taxes on all of creation by his own say-so. And so we do think there might be some reforms to these trade and emergency laws that will haul power back to Congress.
Just a couple more questions. Your colleague, Senator Cory Booker, broke the record of racist, segregationist Strom Thurmond. That really captured the attention of lots of people. Frank Luntz, who I frankly blame for a lot of the discord we see today with his polling, said that he was polling at the time some folks, some Democrats, and they said, this is what we want to see. Lots of people have been talking about a need for a change in Senate leadership with Minority Leader Senator Chuck Schumer. But talk about, again, what you're seeing and hearing. I travel this country. Listen, I got a home in Texas, got a home in Virginia. We spend time on the road. I'm in multiple states all the time. And what I keep hearing is, I need to see Democrats pounding tables, fighting, using every single weapon at their disposal to fight and combat this administration.
Yep, and Roland, you're right. And Cory did a fantastic job the other night. I was on the floor with him doing one of those colloquies that lets him lean on a podium for a few minutes while I ask him a question. He did an amazing job. And that's one of the reasons why this maybe isn't as known as it should be. We elected Cory to Senate leadership in January. He is now one of the key, in the key kind of 5 leadership team on the Democratic side, and he really showed it. And his speech really, in my view, it sort of set the framework for what we need to do going forward. No coincidence, the first Senate action after his speech was the vote on my challenge to Donald Trump on his tariffs. I'd filed the challenge about 3 weeks before. It had to ripen and then be the pending business of the Senate. But I didn't wait for permission from the leadership or anybody. I just said, I'm challenging Trump. And I think when you understand what this is about, Democrats, you'll get on board with me, and all did. We just need more people doing what Cory has done, and we need more, filing of these challenges to Trump. In minority, the tools can be limited, but we do have tools. And I hear the same thing you hear, that people want to see fight. We got to, do it in ways that are true to ourselves. But I'm really relishing the opportunity. Look, I delivered Trump his first loss in the United States Senate since he was inaugurated last night by getting some Republicans to join with Democrats. And I got a lot more up my sleeve.
All right, Senator Tim Kaine, we appreciate you joining us. Thank you so very much.
All right, I'm going to say hey to your good friend Don Scott when I see him next.
Well, I'm wearing my Texas A&M gear today. He's a graduate of A&M. We both pledged Alpha, same chapter, Pi Omicron, and I made it clear. And he's already hit me. He said, I'm going to need you on the road doing your show, doing some town halls to keep him as Speaker of the House in Virginia. So we look forward to hitting the road and hitting different places around Virginia in the coming months.
We'll watch for you out there. Thanks, Roland.
Thanks a bunch. Folks, I was telling y'all about Fox. If y'all want just some comedy, listen, this is Trump's agriculture secretary. While she's talking, the stock market is plummeting. Watch this.
While certainly the economy will be adjusting, the negotiations will continue. We are really, really excited and very grateful to President Trump's leadership and being willing to be bold and fearless in facing some pretty big policy challenges around the world.
So what is the impact on farmers then?
Well, we'll see, right? I mean, we're negotiating. Now we move into some significant negotiations. I mean, I've got a great chart here.
You can hold your little chart up all you want to. The impact on farmers, y'all getting screwed. Y'all getting screwed. So I don't want to hear all this. I need y'all to understand, these people are cracking me up, and all of those MAGA loving farmers, hey, All I have for y'all is Scarface's No Tears. This is what y'all wanted. Y'all voted for this fool. Y'all are getting every single thing that y'all wanted by voting for this despicable man. Y'all are going broke. Y'all lost money last time. I need everybody who's watching to understand something. The American taxpayer had to spend $25 billion for farmers last time because Donald Trump invoked his tariffs. There were folk who were sitting here filing for bankruptcy. In fact, I remember this one story, just so y'all know how crazy these people are. There was this one dude who literally lost a family farm and said, yeah, I would still support Trump again. It's a cult, and they're crazy, and they're nonsensical. Now, if y'all want some more laughter, here is that dunce of a press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, on News Nation saying, there's not going to be any pain, no suffering from Donald Trump and our economy. Watch.
Well, first of all, Markey, I just want to address that yesterday was a great day for our country, and President Trump delivered on a campaign promise that he made to the 80 million American voters who elected him to this highest office, a promise that many presidents before him for decades refused to deliver upon. This is a national emergency. We have a $1.2 trillion trade deficit. We've had 90,000 factories closed across our heartland. We've had 5 million manufacturing jobs go overseas since 1997. And President Trump is finally doing something about it by implementing these reciprocal tariffs. It's the golden rule for the golden age of America. As for prices and what the American public can expect, they can expect price stability. They can expect to buy American. It's a patriotic thing to do. And most importantly, they can expect their wages to go up. We know that in President Trump's first term, wages went up by $6,500 per person. And that's because of the whole of government economic approach that this administration is taking, effectively implementing tariffs while also...
This won't be painful at all for American people and consumers, Caroline?
It's going to be, there's not going to be any pain for American-owned companies and American workers because their jobs are going to come back home. And again, as for prices, President Trump is working on tax cuts to put more money back into the pockets of Americans. He is working on massive deregulatory effort, which we know has already saved American taxpayers millions of dollars in just 2 months. And we're all...
There's a phrase that folk use for people like her. Girl, bye. All you heard there was gaslighting. All you heard there were just lies. And see, I love it how now Trump, yeah, the stock market don't matter. Oh, yeah, but it mattered when Biden was there. I hope y'all see how the game they play, the moving of the goalpost, and how media plays right along with it. Stock market cratering, 401ks getting battered, companies announcing layoffs. Hell, CNBC, Jim Cramer is just losing his mind over the craziness going on. And these people kind of like, well, everything's fine, everything's good. Y'all just go ahead and, it's just, the pain is not going to be bad. In fact, let me see if I can find this clip. Scott Bassett, who is the Treasury Secretary, this fool literally says, y'all, when I heard this, I couldn't believe it. He actually said to the other countries, don't y'all do nothing. Y'all bet not say nothing. You bet not respond. Really? And this was interesting. He's talking to us, Caitlin Collins of CNN. And when she asked him about this, he's like, well, the companies, they don't have to pass the increase in tariffs onto the customers. Watch this.
That looks, obviously, that's the president's ambitious agenda. But on, the argument of short-term pain, long-term gain, which it seems what you're arguing about the long-term, what this will look like, prices will go up for Americans in the short term, right?
They could. They don't have to.
And that's if they don't have to, you're arguing if businesses do not pass those on to those consumers.
Well, in President Trump's first administration, prices didn't go up, so the businesses don't have to pass them on, or the producers in the other countries can eat the tariffs, and traditionally the dollar adjusts. So it's a very complicated calculus to see where we end up.
Yeah, and of course these are
They don't have to increase prices. And the countries, they could eat the tariffs. You the Treasury Secretary? You supposed to be a financial whiz? He worth more than $500 million? And saying bullshit like that? Everybody named Mama knows what's gonna happen. Prices are going to go up. If you put tariffs on wood, drywall, you're going to pay more for a house. I couldn't stand algebra and geometry in school, but I damn sure know how to count. These people are insane, and they have no problem wrecking this country and following a plumb idiot, and they want us to believe that Donald Trump is some smart person when it comes to the economy. You've got to be kidding. Dr. Greg Carr, Department of Afro-American Studies, Howard University. He joins us right here every Thursday. Glad to have Greg. First of all, back at the home studio, because Greg was on the street last week. He was on the street kicking it with us last week. Glad to have him, Dr. Nola Haynes, Georgetown University School of Foreign Service. We'll be joined by Robert Patillo, civil rights attorney, radio show host out of Atlanta, joining us in a second. Greg, these folk, the cult is real. And we've said this many times before. We've said it. White folk are going to have to experience maximum pain for them to possibly wake up. Like, we get it. We know how we voted. They gonna have to get hit in all corners to then realize, yeah, that wasn't a good idea putting that fool back in. You're on mute.
Sorry about that.
There we go.
I said, thank you, brother. You're right. You're absolutely right. And that pain won't be enough. History has shown us the pain won't be enough. The Democrats cut in half the margin by which the two seats that were in special elections in Florida a couple of days ago were lost by when the previous occupants were there, but they still didn't win. They beat back Elon Musk in Milwaukee, but the simple fact of the matter is there's still too many people in this country who don't care. I think the real story here we have is really about the world and the United States of America. All of us who live here, and of course we've been saying this all along, we don't just live in a world where there's only the United States. We live in a globe. A couple of days ago, South Korea, China met together with Japan. South Korea and Japan in the same room, and they said, we're going to have a joint response to these tariffs. Vietnam, Nike stock lost $250 billion since this thing hit, and much of their manufacturing is in Vietnam. So what's going to happen there? Now, these MAGA people saying the jobs are coming back, like Propaganda Barbie and all that. That's beautiful. Your MAGA friends getting ready to work for $5 a day? I don't think so. France is saying, Macron said today, European companies should not be investing in the United States. Remember that the trade deficit works the other way with the EU because the United States has a trade deficit with the European Union when it comes to services rather than goods. So this is not a dance that's going to be happy. In Brazil, they're saying we're not picking a side. Why? Because we got enough markets to serve. They are one of the main food suppliers in the world. And of course, we saw today the stock market's crashing everywhere, the stock market in the U.S. being the worst hit. They don't care. And I was interesting listening to you talk with Senator Kaine because there's a long article just came out in the New Yorker, David Kirkpatrick, writing about the man they're calling the invisible man. That's John Thune, the leader in the Senate. They're going to have some difficult choices to make in the months coming ahead. And those choices are going to have to center around whether or not you're going to stand by while one clown and his billionaire owners dragged the United States of America into a multipolar world that they were going to go into anyway, but he's pressed the acceleration button. The world's getting ready to leave the United States behind. And I, for one, am not going to really shed a lot of tears.
No tears, Nola, no tears.
So Greg kind of like broke down some of the international stuff. And I actually have some data that was recently released from Navigator. It's very interesting, specifically looking at tariffs. And so I just want to kind of like run through a few important facts here. So overall, Americans find tariffs 53% unfavorable. It's no surprise that 81% of Democrats find it unfavorable. Now, the interesting number here are the independents, which is at 49%. Nor will it be surprising that only 26% of Republicans find the tariffs unfavorable. Now, what's very interesting is they also polled some strong Trump supporters, and 41% of not strong approvers say that tariffs are unfavorable. That is a 5% loss. So in different categories, depending on how you're looking at these stats, there are gains, and then there are also losses for the Republicans, right? So when you're looking at a number like 41% who don't strongly approve of the tariffs, who voted for Trump in 24, they lost 5% of those voters, right? So, and when you look at independents, which is a number that's really standing out here, 49% of them disagree, which is a 34-point loss. So these are some very interesting numbers as people are being more educated about tariffs and how they will impact their pocket, their kitchen tables, their small businesses, products that we buy from around the world. There was a conversation just last night in the foreign policy community about the tariffs that were hitting today from China. And as we all know, many of the things, especially saying something like fast fashion, which is a huge market, your clothes, your makeup, all of those things are going to have higher price tags. So the things you're not even thinking about, if you still shop at Sephora, Black women, I hope not, but you know, you're running to go grab your MAC or you're going to go grab your Fenty, all of those prices are going to go up, right? So people are going to start feeling these effects very soon. And listening to you talk to Senator Kaine, what I found interesting in that conversation is this idea of, oh, everything's, going to be fine. That's what the cult is saying, right? To me, these people don't seem like they love America a whole bunch. The way they run around talking about their patriots and left and this, that, and the third, they seem intent on destroying this country. All the things that Senator Kaine laid out in my security brain tells me that is a bad actor. And that person is working against the U.S. I'm sorry, Roland.
Well, actually, that was Robert. You heard Robert coming on. He just joined us. Robert, we had Senator Tim Kaine talking about these tariffs, and it's hilarious listening to these right-wingers act as if, oh, well, it's just some short-term pain. You're just going to have to deal with it. they wasn't saying deal with no short-term pain with Biden-Harris.
Roland,
they were yelling, happy days are here again.
Roland, this is not short-term pain, and I want people to understand that. This is not a blip. This is not a one-day market fall. If you look back at what happened when the United States passed the Smoot-Hawley tariffs in the 1930s, it caused the Great Depression. This is how economics work. That as we've seen, the European nations in the EU said that last year they began the process of Trump-proofing their economy and the expectation that this may come. They have already begun the process of petitioning Canada to join the EU as a new trading partner to go around the United States marketplace. If you look at what's going on in the developing world, if you look at the tariffs that he put on Africa and other nations, this is pushing them closer to China than the Belt and Road Initiative ever could have, because their markets understand that they can no longer depend on the United States to be the place where they send their goods. So when we're talking about how long it will take to fix this, it may be decades to dig our way out of this hole that President Trump is putting himself into. And this was in Project 2025 when they talked about resetting U.S. trade relations, when they talked about changing the global trade assets. And for people who are looking at that chart that President Trump put up yesterday saying XYZ country is charging us 90% tariffs and we're putting a 34% tariff on them, that sort of thing. Those numbers are made up. Just so you understand, those numbers are imaginary. Look at the World Bank numbers, look at the World Economic Forum numbers on exactly what the effective tariff rates are that exist. The tariff rate from the EU to the U.S., which President Trump claims is at close to 60%, is measured to be at 0.2%. All that he is currently doing is intentionally wrecking the U.S. economy so that he can make it cheap enough for those billionaires who are lined up in inauguration to be able to buy up the rest of the American economy at bargain basement prices. That's the only way that this makes sense. And this is in no way, shape, or form something that is either economically cognizable or even historically cognizable in any form, whether it's mercantilism, Keynesian economics, Friedman. You can go down the lines. No one says this is a good idea. So the best thing people can do, learn how to purify rainwater. If you and your friends have a bunker that you can go to and bug out, be prepared for that. We are entering the times we warned you about, or as Roland would say, we tried to tell you.
That's right. Now, the point Robert just made there, I need everybody who's listening, who's watching and listening to understand what I'm saying. When you drive the economy down, people panic. Folks start selling. Do you know what rich folks do? They start buying. They start buying. So what Donald Trump is doing, he's purposely wrecking the economy. And do you know who's sitting there smiling? The sharks, the predators, the Kevin O'Learys, the oligarchs. They're sitting here going, we can grab up tech stocks a lot cheaper. We can grab up textiles a lot cheaper. That's what this is all about. Game, recognize game. And all of y'all's working class people and all of you fools like the fool from Compton who gonna hit me, oh man, we had money in our pockets when Trump was there. Your ass ain't gonna have none of that now. And y'all gonna be singing the blues. Oh, and guess what? There will be no government safety net to save your ass because Elon took care of that too. Y'all got played, but we tried to tell you.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.